My brother's life imploded the moment his wife decided she wanted to explore her options. Now my mother thinks my success is their family's emergency fund. Let me back up. My brother, Alex, married his high school sweetheart, Nina, right after they both turned 20. It was a classic case of shotgun wedding. Nina was pregnant, and in our traditional family, that meant a ring and a rush ceremony at the courthouse. They had 2 kids close together, a boy and a girl. Alex worked himself to the bone, juggling 2 jobs to keep a roof over their heads while Nina stayed home. From the outside, it looked like they were making it work, albeit with constant financial strain. I took a different path. I focused on my education, landed a good job in software development, and through a combination of hard work and lucky investments, I built a comfortable life for myself. I'm not married, I have no kids, and I enjoy the freedom that comes with that. My partner, David, and I have been together for 8 years. We travel, we indulge in our hobbies, and we've designed a life that suits us perfectly. This, apparently, is a personal affront to my mother, who views my child-free, financially stable existence as a reservoir of resources that rightfully belong to family. The crisis began 6 months ago. Nina, who had spent her entire adult life as a wife and mother, began to voice a deep-seated resentment. She told Alex she felt she'd missed out on her youth, that she'd never had a chance to find herself. This morphed into a demand for an open marriage. Alex, a loyal and somewhat simple man who just wanted to provide for his family, was devastated. He refused. The fighting became constant and toxic. Nina moved out, leaving the kid with Alex, and filed for divorce. The divorce was messy and left Alex reeling. He got primary custody, which was a small mercy, but he was now a single father of 2, drowning in mortgage payments on a mechanic's salary. He was exhausted, heartbroken, and barely keeping his head above water. My heart broke for him. Despite our different life choices, he's my brother, and I love him and my nieces. Seeing him struggle, I wanted to help in a tangible way. The obvious burden was his commute. He lived in the suburbs, and his garage was a 45-minute drive away on a good day. His old truck was on its last legs, guzzling gas and threatening to die at every intersection. I, on the other hand, had a reliable SUV sitting in my driveway that I barely used. 2 years ago, I bought a new hybrid for my daily commute, but I'd kept my previous car, a perfectly maintained, sturdy SUV. It had sentimental value. It was the first big purchase I made after landing my dream job, but it was just sitting there. I use it maybe once a month for a hardware store run. I talked it over with David. It's just gathering dust, I said. Alex could really use it. It would save him a fortune in gas and repair costs, and he wouldn't have to worry about breaking down with the kids in the car. David agreed immediately. He's always liked Alex and felt terrible for kids. We decided to give him the car, no strings attached. We'd handle the paperwork, pay the transfer fees, and even get a full service done before handing it over. We drove the SUV to Alex's house on a Sunday afternoon. The kids were playing in the front yard. Alex looked worn thin, shadows under his eyes. When I tossed him the keys and said, "It's yours," we've already sorted the paperwork. His jaw actually dropped. He stared at the keys in his hand, then at the car, then back at me. For a minute, I thought he might cry. "Are you serious?" he asked, his voice thick. "This is too much. I can't accept this." "Don't be ridiculous," I said, clapping him on the shoulder. "It's just sitting at my place. It needs to be driven. Think of it as a very heavy birthday present for the next 5 years combined." He finally accepted, pulling me into a rough hug. "Thank you," he muttered. "You have no idea what this means. The stress of that truck." He trailed off, but the relief on his face was everything. The kids clambered into the back seat, thrilled with a new car. It felt good. It felt right. This is what family does. I thought. That feeling lasted about 18 hours. My phone rang the next evening. It was my mother. Our relationship has always been strained. She views my life as a deliberate rejection of her values. She's never approved of my career-focused choices, my relationship with David, or my decision not to have children. She's the kind of woman who speaks her mind with brutal, unconsidered honesty and mistakes that for strength. I usually let her calls go to voicemail, but given the situation with Alex, I thought maybe she was calling to thank me. I was catastrophically wrong. I answered with a cautious, "Hello?" Her voice was a serrated blade of indignation. No greeting necessary. "How could you? Excuse me? Giving your brother that cast off," she spat. "Do you have any idea how humiliating that is for him? He's not a charity case. He's your brother." I was so stunned I couldn't form words for a second. Humiliating? Mom, it's a fully loaded 7-year-old SUV in perfect condition. It's safer and more reliable than anything you could afford right now. He was grateful. "Grateful for your leftovers?" She shot back. "If you really wanted to help, you buy him a proper new car. You can certainly afford it. You throw money away on your fancy trips and at that apartment, but you can't help your own flesh and blood with dignity." The entitlement took my breath away. "It is a proper car," I said, my voice tight. "And it was a gift, given freely to make his life easier. There's no dignity in struggling when help is offered. He has 2 kids to feed. My fancy trips are none of your business." "He deserves a fresh start," she yelled. "Not your hand-me-downs. You should be supporting him properly. You have the means. It's your responsibility." "My responsibility?" I snapped, my patience evaporating. "My responsibility is to live my life. I chose to help generously in a way that actually solves a problem for him. He's an adult. It's not my job to bankroll his life because his marriage ended." The conversation devolved into a screaming match about my selfishness, my unnatural life with David, and how I was hoarding family money. She ended the call by saying I'd shamed the family. I sat there, shaking with a mixture of rage and disbelief. The sheer, staggering gratitude was a physical blow. I called David, who was equally appalled. Then I called Alex. I didn't want there to be any misunderstanding. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my tone neutral. "Mom just called me. She's pretty upset about the car. Said it was an insult. I need to hear it from you, Alex. Do you feel that way? Because if you do, I'll come take it back right now. And that's the end of it. No hard feelings." There was a long, painful pause on the line. My stomach sank. "Look," Alex finally said, his voice hesitant, almost sheepish. I appreciate it. I really do. It's a big help. But Mom kind of has a point. It's just, you got so much, you know? And a new car would have felt more like a fresh start. This just feels like I'm still stuck, just in a slightly better used car." The words landed like stones. All the warm feelings from the day before turned to ash. "I see," I said, my voice flat. "Okay, I'll be there in an hour to pick it up." "Wait, no," he said, panic edging into his voice. "That's not what I meant. I need the car. I can't go back to the truck." "Then you shouldn't have agreed with Mom that my gift was an insult," I said, feeling a cold clarity settle over me. "You can't simultaneously need my charity and complain about its quality. I'll see you soon." David drove me to Alex's place. The atmosphere was icy. Alex stood on the driveway, looking miserable and defensive. The kids were inside. Without a word, he handed me the keys. "This is so like you," he muttered, not meeting my eyes. "Always have to have the upper hand. Can't just be generous without making a point." That was the final straw. "The point, Alex," I said, my voice low and steady, is that I was trying to help my brother, not fulfill an obligation. The point is that our mother sees my life as a wallet for her family, and you just nodded along. You're in a terrible spot, and I genuinely feel for you. But I won't be treated with contempt for trying to help. You figured out. We drove away in the SUV, the silence in the car heavy. I felt sick. I'd just taken a car away from my struggling brother and his kids. But the alternative, allowing myself and my partner to be treated as entitled, ungrateful sponges, was worse. The fallout was immediate. My mother's phone calls became epic rants about my cruelty, my abandonment of family. Alex sent long, guilt-tripping texts about how hard things were, how the kids missed their uncle, how I was punishing them for one little comment. He even had the audacity to suggest that since I was taking back the used car, maybe I could just give him the cash equivalent instead, so he could put a down payment on something new. David and I had long, difficult conversations. We decided on a hard boundary. We would not be financially manipulated. We loved Alex's kids, and we would continue to be present for them. Birthday gifts, holiday visits, and we'd absolutely set up college funds for them, which we told Alex about to assure him our issue wasn't with his children. But direct financial support Alex was off the table until he demonstrated a change in attitude and a plan for his own independence. We also went low contact with my mother. Her calls went unanswered. Her texts were met with brief, non-committal replies. For months, the tension was a constant, low-grade hum in the background of my life. Family gatherings were avoided. Then, about 4 months after the car incident, Alex called me. He sounded different, tired but not resentful, defeated but clear. "I got a promotion," he said. "Foreman at the garage. It comes with small salary bump and a company van I can use for work. I don't need a long-distance commuter car anymore, just something to run the kids around in." "That's great news, Alex." "Really?" I said, meaning it. "Yeah, and I'm taking night classes. Online certification for automotive electrical systems. It'll mean more money down the line." He paused. "I'm sorry. About the car. About what I said. Mom," she gets in my head. She was so angry about it, and I was so tired and embarrassed about needing help. "I took it out on you. It was a good car. It was a kind thing to do. I was an ass." The apology wasn't poetic, but it was real. It was the first time he'd ever acknowledged our mother's toxic influence without deflection. We talked for a while about the kids, about his classes. It was stilted, but it was a start. I didn't offer the car again. I didn't offer money. But a few weeks later, for his daughter's birthday, our gift was a premium subscription to the educational platform hosting his courses, plus a new tablet to use for it. The card simply said, "For your future, proud of you." He called to thank me, his voice tight with emotion, and this time there was no subtext of expectation. My mother still doesn't understand. She thinks I'm cold and withholding. But the dynamic has shifted. Alex is starting to stand on his own, and in doing so, he's stepping out from under her shadow. He's learning that help is not an entitlement, and that respect is a two-way street. The SUV still sits in my driveway. David jokes we should take it on a cross-country trip to make new memories with it. Maybe we will. The old memory of giving it away and having that generosity thrown back in my face has faded, replaced by something more complicated but more durable. The understanding that sometimes the hardest form of help is not giving someone what they think they want, but giving them the space and the necessity to find their own strength. The ending isn't a neat reconciliation, but it's a fragile piece built on the ashes of a painful lesson. And for now, that's enough.